we first transitioned to remote learning, I was thinking of what is the most important thing to make this go smoothly, and what I came up with was consistency and structure, just like we would have in our regular classroom. So every single day I post a morning meeting video, I post the daily directions, I have a student check-in at 9, I post a share for students to respond to, I try and have a reading group or two every day so that I can see each student by the end of the week. And I also schedule an email to go home to parents every morning at 7 a.m. that updates with any important information, includes the link for the directions for the day, just so that they can stay in the loop. Not all parents love it. If they don't, they just ignore it, and then the parents that need it, it's there for them. The way that I've structured our academics, on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, those are our heavier days where we've introduced new materials and we are focusing on lessons either from our math books that we need or moving along with our reading and writing progressions. So those days are mostly focused on that. There's at least 3 lessons posted each day for each category. They're required to work on their 15 minutes of iReady reading and math, and there are also any other lessons. Those are just our heavier days of academics. Then on Wednesday we have a catch-up day, and this is also a day where students work on ongoing projects like PBL, any book reports or passion projects that they've been doing, and then a day to catch up and catch their breath. And then Friday we've used as kind of a more fun day where they're applying their skills that they've learned from the week into a fun activity. For example, I tried to create a Panther Pantry cooking show. The Panther is our school mascot, so I made things like cookies and pizza and shared that with the students so that they could try to make them at home too. So they were trying to apply the skill from that week into something that was a little more hands-on and a little bit more exciting. And then we also use Friday as a catch-up day as well, and students are able to meet with me, go over things if they have missing assignments or anything that they need, so that they can stay on track with what they need to do to feel good about themselves. The 3 resources that I rely most on are everything in Google, Flipgrid, and Screencastify. I chose to use Google Classroom to host all of my students and my assignments. We used Google Classroom a little bit when we were in our regular classroom, so the transition was really easy for us. My students were already in and invited and knew the basics of it. I don't typically post anything on the screen. That's for teachers who aren't directly teaching my classroom to post things or different resources or videos for my students that they think would benefit them. In my classwork tab, all of our assignments and materials are posted in topics by the day and the date, which helps keep myself and my students organized so that it's easy to find anything that they might need or that I might need. And I typically try and get everything set the day before to schedule to post at 7 a.m. the next day, because my students are all working at different times. Some of their parents are still working, so they might not do it later in the day, and some of them are up early and ready to do it first thing in the morning. So I try to accommodate for everyone's schedules. And another tool that I use is called Flipgrid, and in Flipgrid I'm able to create different topics that I have my students upload videos to. Sometimes it's a reflection, sometimes it's an assignment or a presentation, sometimes it's a fluency passage where they're reading, sometimes they're reading their writing. So this tool can be used in a lot of different ways, and my students enjoy responding to each other, and whether it's a video or writing back to each other, but that way they can interact and practice some presentation skills. So this is my library of all of the videos I've recorded in Screencastify, whether they're directions for the day, morning meetings, math lessons, interactive read-alouds, videos I need to upload for Edpuzzles. There's all different types. So I'm going to kind of go through my library a little bit. I always post my link for my directions in Google Classroom and in my email to my parents so that everyone can stay in the loop and know what's going on. And I also post my morning meeting link in Google Classroom. So these are just some different videos I've taken, morning meetings, some of them. This is an introduction to our PBL project, so I posted that, and I was able to record myself and my TV screen behind me. I'm able to upload different videos of my screen that I can use in Edpuzzle. I'm able to use it for reading and writing, so in that one I was able to highlight different parts of my writing and sort the sentences. This was how I used it for creating my Panther Pantry episode, so I was able to take different videos and edit them together. Just lots of math lessons, that's what I've been using it mostly for. There's another recipe one. An interactive read aloud. I was also able to teach with some chart paper behind me and take videos of myself, so that's what I did in the beginning. I haven't done that as much lately. And I'm able to post my learning goals, and I made a few tutorials to teach other students or other teachers how to use this resource, whether it was for reading groups or for math groups, or just for anything that they needed for their classroom. Another tool that I found helpful is using an assignment completion form. So this is something that I created for all of my students based on that week's work. So I usually send this out on Thursday afternoon to parents, and I send it in an email with their student on the email as well. Assignments that are completed and done well are highlighted in green. Any assignment that is turned in but might be missing something is highlighted in yellow, and then any missing assignment is highlighted in red, and things that don't need to be turned in are highlighted in blue. It also helps me keep track of their iReady reading and math minutes, and mostly this is just for parents who are working. Some parents have asked to be invited into Google Classroom, but sometimes that's more difficult to see what exactly is due. So this is just something that I send out on Thursday afternoon so that on Friday, when it's part of our catch-up day, they are able to sit down together and kind of go over things, or it just helps keep students a little bit more accountable for the work that they're doing if their parent isn't directly over their shoulder while they're trying to complete their assignments. When I record my lessons, I try to do it in this space, which is just made of extra bulletin board paper and a sun made out of construction paper, which just adds a little bit more to my background rather than my kitchen or just blank walls that I have in my house. And I use a standing desk so that I'm not sitting all day. Overall, these past few weeks have ended up being a pretty positive experience for me. The things that have made it such a positive experience are being consistent with my assignments and the structure of my classroom, over communicating information with parents, being flexible with assignment completion, whether it's turned in at a different time or it's a picture of their assignment rather than it being completed digitally, making sure we have fun. Each morning we start off our day and check in with a game. Trying to use a few reliable resources rather than trying to use 100 different ones. Watching how other teachers have done things. So a lot of teachers are really awesome at designing different Google Slides, different backgrounds, things like that I had no idea how to do, and it was really helpful to watch other people do things. And then lastly, checking in on parents has been really important too, because they've taken on a huge role in this. And while I try to make things as student-friendly as possible and independent, in reality, the students are going to need help. So the parents have been a real big supporter. So just making sure that I cheer them on and check in on them has been really successful for me. Some of the things that didn't go so well, in the beginning I tried to force a lot of resources at my students because I thought it was going to be more engaging. And in reality, it just caused more confusion. We tried to do a whole class field trip, which ended up being a disaster, but I think most of these things that I had a hard time with in the beginning have kind of been resolved just by getting more comfortable with the resources that we have and the tools that we have, and just figuring out different ways to do things. One of the other most important things was creating a work-life balance. Now that the students are literally in my home and where it's constant communication because it's virtual, I had to make sure that I made time for myself, because there were students that were completing work late at night or needed help at 9 o'clock when I had been working since 7 in the morning. So really creating a time for myself was important.